Hello and welcome. I'm Rahul, and you're watching me on my Facebook page or my YouTube channel, Hotma Talks. And if you're watching me consistently, welcome back to my channel. I usually make videos in order to enhance your experience, to make you aware of your capabilities. Sometimes I usually talk about motivation, sometimes I usually talk about English language, and sometimes about science and technologies to enhance your knowledge, to make you aware of the latest development, whatever is happening in the contemporary world. So I really want to augment your experience, augment your skills. So it has been always my purpose. Some of you are my followers and you want to know what is important in order to make your communication skill better in English language. So you want to speak. Some buddies, they are able to understand exactly everything, but they cannot speak because they are not putting efforts into practice. So when they will practice a lot, their English will be certainly improved, and this is what is one of the most important thing to improve your English language. I would like to tell you that there are certain parts in grammar, English grammar, that you have to learn in order to speak correctly you know but it is not imperative that you learn each and everything of grammar in order to speak in English. Either if you will try just like a native boy, a native child, you will learn through your experience, through listening, through speaking, and through reading. But if you want to be a good speaker, if you want to speak flawless English, you have to go through certain parts of grammar. And what kinds of grammar is important, what parts of speech is important for you in order to know the correct use of English language. If you want to speak, what types of grammar you should read, what parts of grammar you should read. I'm going to tell you about exactly about that. One of the most important thing that everybody will tell you is about tense. Tenses you have to know, types of tense, you have to know, and how to use tenses, in correct way, that you have to learn because it is integral part of everything. Whatever I'm speaking right now, I'm talking in tenses. I'm just using simple present tense or present continuous tense, or sometimes present perfect continuous tense, and sometimes present perfect tense. So you have to understand which kind of tenses are being used, how to use that. So tense is one of the most important part of the grammar that you have to learn. Second thing that comes is preposition. If you want to speak impeccable and flawless English, you should know how to use prepositions. And you have to go through a lot of list of the words, how they take preposition, how they are followed by preposition. So you have to remember some words, along with that, how to use preposition along with them, that you have to learn in order to speak better English. Third thing that is important is the use of have, because we use many a times, you will be listening that I'm using have to, had to, has to. So you have to learn what is the meaning of that and how to use have in a sentence. Have is also a part of tense, as a auxiliary verb that you have to know. So these things are important. Use of have is important, how to, because there are many uses of have, and that's why you have to learn that. Next thing is about modal verb. Modal verbs are important, just like can, could, shall, should, will, would, and may, might. So these have been the modal verbs that you have to know its uses. If you know modal verbs and its uses, you can use it effectively, and you have to use it in your communication. The day first, when you are trying to learn, when you are trying to augment your skills, just try to use modal verbs in your communication. It will perfect you. It will make you look like a better speaker. That's why modal verbs are important. Along with that, certain skills are important, but they are not as important as these four. If these four you will correct, you'll be able to speak more effectively. The next thing is using conditional sentences. If you learn how to use conditional sentences, you will lift your speaking ability one step forward, and it will look like some kind of respectable English, or whatever you say you'll be speaking after learning these kind of things. Thereafter come active and passive voice. You have to learn a little bit of that, because sometimes passive voice is used, active voice is used, but when it comes to narration or direct speech or indirect speech, native speakers used to speak in indirect speech, but we Indians mostly speak in direct speech, just like the quote, whatever is being said, we just use that, in direct speech. So direct speech, you have to learn something out of that, but it is quite easy to learn. You won't have to go through all those conversion process of direct to indirect speech. Yes, you can learn that for better English process. If you want to give an examination of competitive exam, then you have to learn everything, all the common errors, gerunds and past participles and infinitive, all these uses you have to learn of the verbs, so non-finite verbs and finite verbs, you can learn all these things. There are many things in grammars, if you want to learn, you can go through that. If you want to learn how to give examinations, competitive examinations, so these are the important parts. So for learning in and speaking English, that these four things that I have told you: tenses, modal auxiliary verb, use of have had, and one more thing that I have told you, prepositions, uses of prepositions. If you learn all these four, you'll be able to speak quite effective English, and you'll be nowhere, to make someone cannot cast aspersion about your ability if you're learning all these four, and if you're using your sentences quite effectively in your conversation. So it is important to learn all these things, and if you want to learn and speak, then learn these things and speak from day first. Try to communicate with yourself. If you don't find any kind of environment around you, I have never found any environment around me, and never, even till date, I'm not finding any environment. But nowadays we are lucky that we have internet. Access to internet is globally, present to all the person, and that's why we can take advantage of that, because we have resources and we can communicate with ourselves over a phone, and we can record that. Also, we can watch movies, English podcasts and English channels. There are a lot of podcasts available over internet. So if you want to watch those videos, at least if you listen to 6 months, your communication skill will improve. It is my guarantee that you will be certainly understanding each and everything. If you listen to me or anybody else who is communicating in English for continuously 6 months, you will certainly decipher each and everything. Thank you for listening to me. I will be bringing a lot of new things for you. Thank you for listening to me.